Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, I have but one Star Wars kit remaining for the Metal Earth series, and that is the Drodika, I believe it's called, or Destroyer Droid, as they have it listed on here. This one I've kind of saved for last because it's not one that I'm particularly excited about doing, or at least I wasn't when I got started. But I've done all of the other kits. I started with the ships. Ships are my favorite thing. I moved to R2-D2 because it's R2, and I also did the AT-AT Walker. But I figured I might as well finish the collection and do this guy right here, because I imagine it will not be too much longer before there are more Star Wars kits, and the Transformer kits are coming out, I believe it's next month. And I want to be ready for those. So let me sit down and open this up and fire away. Open sesame. As always, we have the instructions. This one is 2 pages, so I imagine there's going to be a lot of little bits and pieces to fit together. And it starts off, as all of them do, talking about insertion tabs and how to fold and inserting holes, and it talks about needle nose pliers are helpful for assembly, and a little bit more about the blue circles are for 90-degree bends, the triangles represent a twist. So same story, you have your maps, or more or less, of the 2 different sheets and all the part numbers, so you know where to find the parts. And then it just goes through and the parts are numbered and you just put them together. And for the most part, it works to start with number 1 and go forward. And this works, you know, you'll go forward to a point where you'll start, maybe the numbers will jump back and forth a little, because you'll sometimes run into parts where there's more than one part that's exactly the same and it works in more than one place. And so sometimes it'll start later in the directions, it'll start jumping around, but just follow it best you can. It can be a little, some of them can be a little screwy. Let's see how this one goes. Tools you'll find useful. Number 1, tweezers. You need at least a pair of tweezers to put these kits together. You can do the entire kit with just a pair of tweezers. It might be difficult, but it is possible. I myself have picked up the kit from Fascinations. It includes the long needle nose pliers, flat nose pliers, and clippers. These are extremely helpful. Flat nose pliers are useful. The needle nose are very useful. If you don't get their kit, at least try to have some sort of long nose pliers to bend over some of the longer parts. I also have a pair of forceps that are good for getting into hard to reach places. Also find it useful to have objects that I can round things with, that I can wrap around circular parts. A dentist pick here, or a dentist type pick for reaching in and maybe adjusting tabs that are hard to get to. And a pocket knife is useful for twisting and prying apart areas that are too close together. This will be my first time using the new clippers that I recently picked up. They made removing parts much easier. I use my fingernails a lot to bend the tabs over. Unfortunately, the instructions became a little unclear at this point. There are lots of little circular parts that look just alike with minor size differences. I had to find 2 of them with the same number, but only one of the parts' location was labeled on the instructions. I had to make my best guess as to which other part to use. Initially, I curved around and finished off the small round pieces before attaching them, but it was difficult to manipulate such a tiny piece. I later only curved them enough to get the tabs aligned and attach them. I left the lid open so I'd have something to hold on to, and then after they were attached, I would fold the top down and finish curving the round ends. If it looks like the parts just come together easy, keep in mind it took several hours to put this kit together. I edited the video down, removing a lot of things like me studying the directions, looking at pictures, or fighting to get parts to fit. Really, who wants to sit through such a long video? The tabs on this piece are hard to reach. I was afraid that I would not be able to make good enough twists to hold the parts together. Remember to take your time and be careful. Check the instructions, check against the picture if you need to, and make sure that you're putting the parts together the right way. It's easy to do something backwards and not to be able to undo it. This part had me worried. The instructions have you join two pieces to the center piece with just one tab per side. It was loose and wobbly, and then all three pieces hooked together to a larger piece. That makes it sturdy, but to tell you the truth, I did not expect it to come together as easily as it did. I thought for sure I would be in for a fight. Sometimes, after bending the sides of a piece into shape, especially if they're at odd angles, you may want to bend the tabs a little bit more so that they are all pointing straight in the same direction. This will make assembling many parts a lot easier. If you are not using clippers to remove parts, use tweezers or pliers to hold other parts still so that you do not accidentally flex and break other things trying to get one part off. You might want to wait to bend these last two pieces around until you have the bottom bulb attached. More little round parts. Some of the parts on the leg are sort of cone shaped. I admit I had trouble shaping them into a cone, but I did the best I could. It can take time to bend and shape the parts so that they fit together. Again, I edit a lot out to keep the video short, but I do spend a lot of time adjusting and bending and trial fitting different parts. Parts rarely ever come together the first time. As I had said earlier, I would finish curving the small round parts after getting the tabs attached. This part was difficult. I had trouble bending the tabs over without pushing it back apart. It's tough, but you have to hold the parts together real tight while you bend over the tabs, or instead of bending, they will just push back through the hole. In the end, I bent one of the parts back and forth a few too many times by an accident and it broke off, but I carried on. I was worried about the clearance when it came time to attach the legs, but there was just enough room to reach in and twist the tabs, and they attached pretty firmly. I was able to bend two of the sides over easily with these long pliers. With the other two sides, I had to carefully bend a little at a time with the flat nose pliers. Bend a little and work your way across to keep it from getting bent, warped, or out of shape. This is why I said earlier to wait to bend the side pieces around until after you've attached the bolt. It was a tight fit and it probably would have been easier on me had I waited. I had to use the knife to bend these tabs over. They were too close to other parts to get any other tool in. This was another spot that I could barely reach to bend the tabs. Good thing I had my really thin forceps. Then I used my dental picks to bend the tabs over even farther in the back. More little round pieces. When building the arms, the instructions are not very clear about what you should bend and when. I ended up bending one piece and attaching it a little too soon and was fortunately able to undo it and carry on. There is a lot to bend and curve on the guns. I had a lot of trouble shaping the side curves and the cone-shaped ends. The tabs holding the guns to the arms are close and in a tight spot. Ended up using a dental pick to pry the tabs over and lock them down. The other arm goes together just like the first, it's just mirrored. I noticed that the instructions seemed to tell me to put the arms on after bending the center part, but I know better than that from working with kits like the TIE Fighter. I decided to add the arms before bending the center part into shape. I still had to bend a little to have room to attach both the arms, but I was able to easily access the back of the tabs to secure the part. The last little part of the video got chopped out, but when it come time to attach this front part, it just slips over 4 tabs on the back, and I used a pair of the forceps to grab a hold of the tabs and twist them around on all 4 of them. Twist it and twist it. I also wanted to take a moment to go over the instructions. As I've said it before, you just kind of follow along with the numbers, and for the most part that leads you from one place to the next. And here on the back, it got confusing for me. It's confusing, you don't go all the way across. You only stay in this little section and you go over the little dotted lines. But once you get to this solid line here, instead of continuing down, you hop back up here, finish this arm, and then you start on the next arm, and once you get to this solid line again, hop over here and continue on with this arm and then the back piece, and then bring it all together. Took me a little bit to figure that out, but I thought I would share for those trying to build the kit because it really threw me for a loop. All done. The Destroyer Droid, or as I believe I've heard it called, Drodika, although I'm not sure about that, is all done. And I will tell you, this was a difficult kit. I am very glad that I did not start with this model, with this kit, or I may not have ever done another Metal Earth kit. This was tedious and cumbersome. And I'm sorry if I'm making it sound bad. It doesn't help that this is my least favorite, or not least favorite. This is the least interesting one to build for me. I'm basically doing it, one, to complete the set, so that I have all the kits that they have now. And number two, I've done all the rest of them. I've got more experience at it. It'd be fun to build another. Plus the videos that I've made seem to have helped other people. Most tedious part is you've got these little circular pieces, these little round pieces all over the place. They are everywhere. 36, there's at least 36 different little circles in this one little kit. Very tedious. Furthermore, these are probably the worst instructions of all the kits that I've done. Because there's so many little tiny round pieces, they only give you the number the first time. There's at least 3 different sizes. 2 for sure, 3 possibly, I'm not real sure. And you start off with this confusion early because you have to do 2 parts. They give you the number and they point to one of these circle pieces and they don't tell you which one's the other one, and you just gotta kind of guess. Having said all of that, it does look fairly neat. It's another neat little kit. Once you get it done, it'll be nice sitting in the collection. Doesn't look too bad. It does have a lot of detail to it, so if I really enjoyed this particular droid, I probably would love how wonderful it looks. And it's got a neat little stand with a name. So, if you have any questions, comments, please leave them down below. Thank you for watching, and keep on keeping on. That's currently all the Star Trek and Star Wars kits that Metal Earth has to offer. In April, they're coming out with Transformers, and I fully intend on picking those kits up and putting those together for you, and for myself. In the meantime, I've had a request, and you can see a link to that in the next frame over. But if you have a request, if you have a kit that you'd like to see me build, leave it in the comments down below, and I'll see if I can't work that in for you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.